President-elect Donald Trump railed against President Biden's ban on new offshore oil and gas drilling developments.
I will reverse it immediately. It'll be done immediately, and we will drill, baby, drill.
Listen to a story about a man named Jed, a poor mountaineer, barely kept his family fed. And then one day he was shooting at some food, and up through the ground come a bubbling crude oil, that is, black gold, Texas tea. Well, the first thing you know, old Jed's a millionaire. The kinfolks said, Jed, move away from there. Said, California is the place you ought to be. So they loaded up the truck and they moved to Beverly Hills, that is, swimming pools, movie stars. The Beverly Hillbillies.
Speaking Tuesday, with less than 2 weeks to go until he takes office, Trump also refused to rule out the use of military force to take control of the Panama Canal and Greenland, where a delegation of aides, including his son, Donald Trump Jr., is visiting.
We need them for economic security.
Greenland's government says it is not for sale. When it came to the remaining hostages Hamas took from Israel, including several Americans, the president-elect did not mince words.
If they're not back by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East.
So the ultimate goal that these people have in mind is the goal to create a one world government.
I had some family that did stuff for the CIA, because my dad, he was someone who would do medical procedures on high-level CIA people.
Whenever I go to a family reunion, half the people in the room are former retired CIA. I've had family that got like 7 Silver Stars and stuff like that, but it's all classified. Some of the highest decorated people in the country. I was recruited by patriot elements inside the shadow government.
Hooked up at the Psych Warfare Center run by the Pentagon at UT. I'm not even supposed to talk about the fact I've been let in there repeatedly.
Run by the banking industry, run by the bankers, and they're doing it in sections. The European currency, the euro, and the European Constitution is one part of it. Now they're trying to do it in America with the North American Union.
Vaughn, you were at that news conference today. In addition to the Panama Canal and Greenland, Mr. Trump also said that he would, quote, use economic force to merge the U.S. and Canada. I'm wondering if that's a joke or for real. What did he say about each of these places?
No, Kate, it's actually a good question, and I like to think that's why I asked it, because when we were at Mar-a-Lago just a few moments ago, I started off my question specifically about Canada by saying, under the assumption that he was serious about suggesting that Canada should be a 51st state, to which he quite defiantly agreed that he was in fact serious and said that, well, unlike Greenland and the Panama Canal, military force should not be used. He suggested that economic coercion should be, saying that the United States doesn't need imports from Canada. To be clear, about half of the imports that the United States does bring in from Canada is oil and gas.
Look at that thing. A gigantic edifice behind us is the Ronald Reagan Building and International Trade Center. As Matt and I were exploring this and other buildings in the DC area, this building in particular prompted us to think about international trade. You've probably heard about the TPP by now. It's enormously controversial, but there is another question that we have been asked about for years on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, email, and more, and that is this. What is a petrodollar? Would people really wage a war for it?
Here are the facts. Every country is also a financial trader, hoarding currencies, bonds, and other financial instruments as a way to retain stability during uncertain economic shifts. Today, the US dollar has often been called the world's reserve currency. But what is it based on? In some circles, analysts believe the true value of the dollar is based on its popularity as the means of exchange for international oil sales, leading traders, investors, and policy wonks to refer to it as the petrodollar.
Okay, currency, very important.
Yes.
And if you want to go to third world status, lose your reserve currency. We have to have that. We cannot lose it. If you you'll go to third world status in this country, because you take a look at the way things are running. If a country tells me, sir, we like you very much, but we're going to no longer adhere to being in the reserve currency, we're not going to salute the dollar anymore, I'll say that's okay. And you're going to pay a 100% tariff on everything you sell into the United States. And we love your product. I hope you sell a lot of it into the United States, but you're going to pay 100% tariff. He will then follow it up by saying, sir, it would be an honor to stay with the reserve currency. That will be like just playing. That's not even chess, that's checkers. As far as the currency devaluations, I've been complaining about that for a long time. And I believe that we will all eventually, and probably very much sooner than a lot of people understand or think, we will be all at a level playing field.
So what is this exactly, and why should it matter to you? Here's where it gets crazy. The petrodollar may have much more of an impact on global stability or instability than it initially appears. According to author James Rickards, the US dollar has been the world's dominant reserve currency since the Bretton Woods Agreement in 1944, which set forth global rules for monetary policy. As analysts at JP Morgan write, under the terms of the Bretton Woods Agreement signed in July 1944, the United States agreed to exchange US dollars for gold at a fixed rate of $35 per ounce. Currencies of signatory nations were pegged to the US dollar within a 1% deviation limit. Central banks would buy or sell US dollars to keep their currency within the permitted fluctuation band. Thus, the US dollar became the world's official reserve currency. As of 2014, over 60% of all global reserves are in US dollar-denominated securities. But the dollar isn't based on gold anymore. Rickards argues that the dollar has been propped up by the petrodollar. According to the story, in the 1970s, Henry Kissinger approached Saudi Arabia with an intriguing offer. The US would guarantee the continued security and rule of the House of Saud if they agreed to price all oil in US dollars.
Right? And they want to create a new currency called the Amero, right? And the whole agenda is to create a one world government where everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them. All money is to be in those chips, right? There'll be no more cash. And this is getting me straight from Rockefeller himself. This is what they want to accomplish.
Sharon Rockefeller has been a strong advocate for the arts and public broadcasting. The First Lady of West Virginia, Sharon, fought on behalf of the state's school children and served on the board of the West Virginia Educational Broadcasting Authority. She is currently chairman of the Board of Trustees for the National Gallery of Art and has helped the institution acquire breathtaking works of beauty, some of the best anywhere in the world. Sharon has also served as president of the Washington Educational Telecommunications Association for 30 years. She helped establish WETA as one of the preeminent public broadcasting networks in the nation, producing PBS NewsHour and Washington Week, among other programs. And now maybe I'll start getting some good publicity on those particular shows. Sharon, could you please start working on that, Sharon? They tend to be on the other side of things a little bit. I think now I have a better chance.
Welcome back to Face the State on this Sunday morning. It is now time for our Face the State flashback deep in the Channel 3 archives. Some 30 years ago, a 42-year-old businessman named Donald Trump was featured on Channel 3 Eyewitness News in a report on our evening news. He spoke to our then business reporter Jim Vicevich about something very Trump-centric. It was Trump, the game.
It's just what you might expect from Donald Trump, arriving by helicopter, landing on the front lawn of Milton Bradley. Sometimes it seems everything he touches turns to gold or at least green, so naturally workers wanted to touch him. This was the reason for his visit, though. Donald Trump the Game. Introduced in February, it gives players the chance to wheel and deal in real estate just like the man. And after receiving the first copy to run off the line, he urged the workers to make some money themselves.
Get some overtime. You know, this way you double them up. Double them up. Have a good time. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Once in a lifetime thing, you know. Donald Trump. It's worth a lot of money.
It's good for the game. All needs some hype. a little hype, it makes money, you know?
That's good for you?
Well, you know, in the long run it will be.
You got to figure as successful as Trump the investor, Trump the entrepreneur is, Trump the game would be just as successful. And if that's your guess, well then you're right.
Game is number one right now. It's been out about 2.5 weeks, which is amazing. In the stores that it's in, it's clearly the number one product in the game category.
I guess knowing nothing about games like this, I guess you'd have to always shoot at Monopoly, and if we could do as well and last as long as Monopoly, that would be great.
Sharon, as you receive the National Medal of Arts, we thank you for enriching the lives of millions. And I want to thank you very much for being here, Sharon. Great job you've done. Thank you. Incredible job.
The world is shaped by those who ask questions. Like, what if the earth wasn't flat? What if light could shine after the sun went down? What if we could fly to other planets, to other worlds? What if we could bring about change without violence?
This nation was founded on the principle that all men are created equal.
What if our voices could travel farther than we thought? Our ideas.
Scientific progress, technology goes much further than anyone ever dreamed.
Our humanity. The questions we pose today will define our tomorrow. And so we ask, what if your gender didn't limit how high you could climb? What if jobs worked for us as hard as we work for our jobs? What if technology could ignite more opportunity for more people? How would that change the way we work for our future? What if we could create a more inclusive economy, society, world?
Sharon Percy Rockefeller, for being a renowned champion of the arts, a generous supporter of charity, and a pioneer of new ideas and approaches in the field of public policy.
And after one final autograph on a dollar bill, Trump the man left to continue playing the real-life version of Trump the game. I'm Jim Vicevich, Channel 3 Eyewitness News, East Longmeadow.
And all money will be in your chips. And so instead of having cash, anytime you have money in your chip, they can take out whatever they want to take out whenever they want to. If they say you owe us this much money in taxes, they just deduct it out of your chip digitally.
Total control.
Total control. And if you're like me or you, and you're protesting what they're doing, they can just turn off your chip.
Number 8, we will finally complete the biometric entry-exit visa tracking system, which we need desperately. For years, Congress has required biometric entry-exit visa tracking systems, but it has never been completed. The politicians are all talk, no action. And I will tell you, it will be on land, it will be on sea, it will be in air. We will have a proper tracking system.
But from Donald Trump making the case 2 weeks out from his inauguration that essentially the crippling of the Canadian economy would lead to them wanting to join up and be annexed by the United States.
And you have nothing. You can't buy food. You can't do anything. It's total control of the people.
And that chip's connected to a database that has your purchasing records, what you do, what
everything,
you sell.
Everything is in there, you know? And so they want a one world government controlled by them, everybody being chipped, all your money in those chips, and they control the chips, and they control people, and you become a slave. You become a serf to these people. That's their goal. That's their intention.
President Eisenhower said only 2 hours ago from this very rostrum, the Republican Party should reject extremism from either the left or the right. Precisely 1 year ago today, on July 14th, 1963, I warned that the Republican Party is in real danger of subversion by a radical, well-financed, highly disciplined majority.
Many liberal organizations, including the United Nations, are pursuing the development of a one-world religious organization. Today, on the United Nations' 55th anniversary, CBN News reporter Wendy Griffith takes a look at what's behind this push for a global religious voice.
After a while, the drums, chants, and prayers representing many of the world's leading religions all started to sound alike, somehow losing their flavor in a melting pot of spiritual soup. The first ever Millennium World Peace Summit of religious and spiritual leaders took place at the United Nations in August, and some believe it marked the first major step toward a movement to usher in a global spiritual body that may one day speak for all religions. Robert McGinnis with the Family Research Council says it appears the hidden agenda is to unite people under one religious organization so they will peacefully accept UN goals such as population control, abortion rights, and one world government.
Instead of all these different gods, maybe there's one God who manifests himself and revealed himself in different ways to different people. You know, what about that, huh?
CNN founder and billionaire Ted Turner was the honorary chair of the World Religion Summit. Turner, known for his critical views on biblical Christianity, promoted the New Age concept that there are many ways to heaven.
The thing that disturbed me is that my religious Christian sect was very intolerant, not intolerant of religious freedom for other people, but they thought that we were the only ones going to heaven.
Supporters of a global religious voice have come down hard on evangelical Christians who refuse to adopt their New Age agenda.
Although the URI says it is not a religion, critics say it does preach a theology that teaches acceptance and diversity among all faiths. Those who push for a global religious organization believe that all religions, while different on the surface, are each valid pathways to God.
So how far will the U.S. go to protect the status of the petrodollar? Some theorists such as Jerry Robinson, William R. Clark, and F. William Engdahl believe protection of the petrodollar is the ultimate cause for many recent U.S. wars, including the invasion of Iraq and the toppling of Gaddafi in Libya. According to this idea, the U.S. invaded Iraq in 2003 when Saddam Hussein moved to sell oil in euros. This remains a controversial concept even more than a decade later, but various quotes from government officials seem to confirm the importance of this resource in global conflicts. As former chairman of the Federal Reserve, Alan Greenspan, wrote, "I am saddened that it is politically inconvenient to acknowledge what everyone knows. The Iraq War is largely about oil." For years leading up to and following the various wars, invasions, and attacks in the Middle East, the U.S. official line has referred to stability. But stability of what? According to Rickards, Clark, and others, that's something they don't want you to know.
Listen, I have kind of a pressing appointment, but I thought you might run into a roadblock, so I asked someone to drop by. Oh, Mike? Sir?
Randall? Donald.
Mr. Trump here wrote The Art of the Deal. Then he wrote a new bestseller, The Art of the Comeback.
2 books.
Wow.
So I want to let you listen, though, directly to the president-elect respond to the question about Greenland, where his son was today. Take a listen.
We need Greenland for national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time, long before I even ran.
To be clear, Greenland is a sovereign territory, an autonomous state under Denmark. But of course, for Donald Trump here, there are serious questions as to what military force would look like to take over and annex Greenland.
In the late 19th century, during the height of the Gilded Age, the nation was swept by the rise of powerful industrialists known as the robber barons. Among them, one figure stood out, John D. Rockefeller, the oil magnate. Rockefeller's empire extended far and wide, with Standard Oil at its core. His control over the oil industry was unprecedented. As his wealth and influence grew, so did concerns about his monopoly and its impact on smaller businesses. Rockefeller, bowing to a need for public goodwill, launched a philanthropic endeavor that would reshape the way the world viewed these robber barons. He dedicated a significant portion of his fortune to education, public health, and scientific research. Rockefeller's actions would spark conversations about the responsibilities of the wealthy, leaving a lasting impact on society long after the era of the robber barons had come to an end.
Since his birth, Baron Trump has lived a lavish lifestyle. After being brought home from the hospital in New York City, the young Trump was showered with designer gifts, including a golden stroller and golden chandelier, all courtesy of his parents' high-profile friends. Growing up in the public eye, baby Baron was always dressed to the fashion standards of his socialite mother. When Baron was just 7 years old, his mom had this to share with ABC News about his fashion sense. He is not a sweatpants child. He does not mind wearing suits, but not every day. Melania also said she loved dressing Baron up nicely and ensuring he had a nightly skincare routine. Although there are very few public photos of Baron as a baby and toddler, when he has been photographed, he looks red carpet ready. In 2007, when his dad was awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Baron was there at just 10 months old and rocked a Parisian chic ensemble, wearing a navy blue knitted sweater, a round collared white shirt, navy blue shorts, and black leather booties. Baby Baron Trump was a stylish baby.
Donald Trump celebrated Thanksgiving alongside his family and Elon Musk at Mar-a-Lago. The president-elect was spotted at a holiday dinner at his Florida club where he dined next to the SpaceX founder as well as his 18-year-old son Barron and wife Melania. In video captured from the evening, the 78-year-old was seen dancing from his seat using his signature hand gestures as people around him joined in, including the Tesla CEO and his mother, May Musk. Sylvester Stallone and his family were also in attendance, sitting near the Trumps. Though it was likely Barron would join his family for Thanksgiving, the 18-year-old has often stayed out of the spotlight. His last public appearance appears to be election night. But the NYU student recently went viral after a video of him resurfaced as a child and made rounds on TikTok, in which he says he likes his suitcase in an apparent Slovenian accent.
I like my suitcase. I have to go to school now.
Yeah, you will have lunch and then you go to school.
Now I'm gonna go.
Yeah, first you will have lunch and then you go to school.
That's it, Lurch. Now you're getting it. What's the matter?
I think he slipped a cog.
Poor dear. I believe he overdid it.
He must have thrown his back out.
Excellent diagnosis, child. Don't worry, Lurch. You're in the finest hands since Dr. Schweitzer.
Oh, it's true, Lurch. Mr. Adams' treatment for Grandmama's back had the whole medical world agog.
Agog? Aghast.
Not so hard, dear. He's tall enough already.
Sorry, my love. I don't know my own strength. He's turning a beautiful shade of red.
The video trended so much on the social media app that people have now created a remix, making it sound like a pop song.
I like my suitcase. I like my suitcase. I like my suitcase. I have to go to school now. I like my suitcase.
It's more magenta. Very popular color this year.
Well, we better give it another go. Well, one more.
Darling, you've done it again. He's as good as new.
Another triumph for medical science.
I like my suitcase. I have to go to school now. I like my suitcase.
A very young man is now going to college, got into every college he wanted to, and he made his choice. And he's a very good guy, I'll tell you. You know, I'm not allowed to call them boy, but he is my boy. He's my boy. They're all my boys, right? When you have sons, you can be any age, they're your boy. They're always going to be, and he's a very special guy.
Frederick Trump and his wife Elizabeth left Germany and settled in Queens, New York. But over the decades, the Trumps told a story about being of Swedish origin, not German. Gwenda Blair is author of The Trumps.
In 1940s, people, especially in the real estate industry in New York, didn't want to hear that somebody was German, so let's get rid of that. Let's be Swedish.
That's right. Donald's father, Fred Trump, told everyone that the family was Swedish.
I don't believe there's any Swedish ancestry whatsoever.
And Donald kept up the fiction as late as 1987 in his bestseller, The Art of the Deal.
His story is classic Horatio Alger. Fred Trump was born in New Jersey in 1905. His father, who came here from Sweden as a child, owned a moderately successful restaurant.
Even Donald wondered why the story was necessary. When he was working on The Art of the Deal, he reportedly asked his dad, "Do I have to do this Swedish thing?" Trump eventually embraced his family heritage and that small town in Germany where the Trumps really came from.
The people in Karlstad are very reliable, strong people. And I feel that about myself. I'm strong and I'm very reliable. I'm on time. I get things done.
There's even more breaking news. According to the New York Post, President Donald Trump has been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. His nomination is due to the historic peace agreement between Israel and the United Arab Emirates. The nomination is understood to have come from a right-wing anti-immigration politician who is a member of the Norwegian parliament.
Someday the Nobel Prize.
Couldn't accept it.
Why not?
Run off to Sweden and leave the children?
Of course you're right.
More. Oh, no, Lurch. This could become habit forming.
Now, on your feet and on with the dancing lesson.
Darling. Dear, I think Lurch is a bit shy with you.
Oh? Well, should we call for another instructress?
Waste of smelling salts. Lurch not only needs a great teacher, but also a great psychologist, a brilliant tactician, a rigid taskmaster.
You?
I never could fool you.
We have to very, very carefully vet. We have to be smart. We have to be vigilant. So here it is, the snake. It's called the snake.
On her way to work one morning, down the path alongside the lake, a tender-hearted woman saw a poor half-frozen snake. His pretty colored skin had been all frosted with the dew. Oh, well, she cried, I'll take you in and I'll take care of you. Take me in, oh tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, tender woman. Sighed the snake. Now she wrapped him up all cozy in a coverture of silk, and then laid him by the fireside with some honey and some milk. Now she hurried home from her work that night as soon as she arrived. Now she found that pretty snake she'd taken in had been revived. Take me in, oh tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, tender woman. Sighed the snake. Now she clutched him to her bosom. You're so beautiful, she cried. But if I hadn't have brought you in, by now you might have died. Now she stroked his pretty skin again and then kissed and held him tight. But instead of saying thanks, that snake gave her a vicious bite. Take me in, oh tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, tender woman. Sighed the snake. Now I saved you, cried that woman, and you you even why. And you know your bite is poisonous, and now I'm gonna die. Ah, shut up, silly woman, say that a reptile with a grin. Now you knew darn well I was a snake before you brought me in. Please take me in, oh tender woman, take me in for heaven's sake. Take